Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of the ZodWriter Show. I am ZodWriter, and I have an awesome panel full of great people to talk about today's topic, which is an anime manga that is near and dear to my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about none other than Fist of the North Star. So right off the bat, I want to bring in the official ZodWriter Show co-host, Mr. Johnny Alpha. Welcome back, sir. How are you today? Johnny, you cut out, man. Johnny, are you there? Okay. All right. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bring in my second co-host for tonight. This is Sweet Sonia G, aka Trinity is Truth. Welcome to the ZodWriter Show, Sonia.
Hey.
Good. It's so great to have you here on the panel. And then we also have ThatOneCarlos. He was here last week, and we had a fantastic episode of the ZodWriter Show, and we're talking about Fist of the North Star. So we figured we'd go ahead and have Carlos join us again. It's great. It's great to have you here, Carlos. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me here again.
It's a wonderful topic to talk about. Fist of the North Star is one of my all-time favorite animes and mangas. The movie version in particular was the first version of Fist of the North Star I had ever seen, and once I saw this movie, my life was changed forever. I was a lifelong fan. I saw the movie when I was 8 years old, and and from there it just became a regular wild experience. And I think Johnny is back. Johnny, are you here? Johnny, are you muted?
No, he's just MIA. Come on, Johnny.
He might have muted himself by mistake. Yeah, are you muted, Johnny? Let's in the meantime, while we wait for Johnny, let's catch up here with the chat. We've got Sickness in the chat. What's up, Sickness? He says, Zod, what up, brother? Dropping by to show some love and support. Out and about right now. I'll try to catch up in a bit, bro. Oh, it's great. It's great to have you, man. I'm so glad that you could make it. It's always a pleasure seeing you. And okay, and Ashanka says, "Who is this girl?" This is Sonia. Sonia is awesome. She's been a friend of mine for a long time. She has co-hosted with me on a couple ZodWriter Show episodes in the past, and is here to talk about Fist of the North Star, and is probably going to be joining us in subsequent episodes, most likely. Isn't that right, Sonia?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm
Okay.
excited about that. Yeah.
So, Carlos, I guess we'll start out by talking about the movie first. Did you get a chance to watch the film?
Right. Yes, I watched the film. I saw bits and pieces of the first episodes of the anime, the TV series, but I did thoroughly enjoy the film.
Okay, and Johnny, are you with us? Johnny was fine. Johnny was fine before the show started. I don't know what's happened to poor Johnny.
Right?
He was fine before the show started. He was having no audio issues. We were talking for a good 15 minutes, and now okay.
I thought I heard something or try to come through. Johnny.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Johnny. Are you there? Okay, well, maybe Johnny, when he gets his audio issues straightened out, he'll come back. So you said you thoroughly enjoyed the film. What were some of the highlights for you, Carlos?
So, I never really watched an old school anime, Japanese anime film, or TV show for that matter. But
Wow, that's beautiful. Wow.
but yeah, for like I don't know, first experience, it really did leave an impression. It does have like all the tropes that like a 80s anime would, but it does it very well in its very unique style. Because I actually haven't seen in any kind of animation this kind of post-apocalyptic Mad Max kind of world, which was pioneered by Mad Max the movie, but it's really refreshing.
Here's one thing that's gonna probably blow your mind. The anime TV series version of Fist of the North Star came out prior to the movie and started in 1983, and it predates Mad Max.
Really? Because I also watched a video about like a brief history of it, and it said that the show was, or at least the movie was, partly inspired by Mad Max. But yeah,
because you got the manga.
right.
The manga started earlier, and
That's
then
right.
the TV show, and then the movie. The movie came out later. The movie came out in 1986.
Yeah, I got that.
And the anime started, I believe, 1983, and we had the manga a little bit earlier. Yeah, smash that like button and subscribe. Thank you, Ray. Always good to see you. So this was your first time watching an old school anime.
It is. Like I have watched the more like anything past 2000, I guess you could say. So Dragon Ball, Naruto, and stuff like that.
So now, are you a Mad Max fan?
Like I'm gonna sound like the biggest kind of throughout this whole conversation. I'm probably gonna sound like the biggest youngster there is. You know what I mean? Like a zoomer, because like I really don't understand or have experienced much of like the classics back in the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that. So I was actually introduced to Mad Max with Fury Road, and watching back onto the older ones. Like naturally it would feel like a downgrade, but those were nice. But yeah, I really got my Mad Max fix from Fury Road.
Okay, so then having finally experienced Fist of the North Star, you're as an anime fan, and you like modern anime. I mean, what was your takeaway in comparison to how it holds up to some of the stuff you normally like to watch?
Yeah, it was still visually appealing, like and quite surprisingly, actually, for the technology back then, and like how you had to run through a ton of frames with with the sketches and stuff like that. Now everything's done on the computer, and it could be like a more streamlined process. But as you know, with like the first TV, the first like season or two of Dragon Ball Super, how even like with the modern technology, it could still look very unpolished and very tacky.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true.
The thought came into my mind, but it just shows you how much passion and like hard work that really goes into this anime and the creators behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sonia, you had watched the movie not too long ago, and so what are some of the things that you really liked about the movie?
First of all, I like to say to Carlos, don't feel bad, because I haven't been a long time anime fan, just the past maybe 7-8 years. So I didn't even know about this anime until my friend Joey here, introduced it to me.
Right.
But yeah, so it's like you said, with it being pretty old school. I mean, I thought it was a pretty what I liked about it is, first of all, I mean, the violence that appeared in the anime was quite comical. So I really like that. And the characters, like my favorite characters were one of my favorite characters was Lynn. I thought she was yeah. I'm sorry, you guys. Let me see. Yeah. Anywho, she was one of my favorite characters, and she kind of like touched my heart because, you know, with her, I'm hoping I'm talking about the same girl, the right girl. The one that was
Yeah, you're talking about Lynn, the little girl who started off mute. Yes.
Yeah. She kind of like touched my heart. And when I'm sorry. I'm new to all this, you guys, so you guys have to excuse me. But anywho, well, I like the fact that the anime itself had how it went from like old time civilization to like a more modern day modern time. I like the fighting, the like the samurai type oh boy. You know what, Joy? Let me see.
Yeah, well, piggybacking onto that, like one thing that I like, she mentioned early when she was saying about the gore, like it's actually like really refreshing to see that, like not to be a sadist or anything, but like witnessing that, because when we're talking about anime and the or mangas, or you know, these characters, these are larger than life, like essentially superheroes.
Yes.
And like when you look at the modern stuff like Naruto or like Dragon Ball, like these people could literally be thrown into mountains and like hurled into space and stuff like that, in these large cataclysmic events, and yet all they come out with is like some rubble on their, you know, little dirty clothes and maybe a few bruises, you know. And it doesn't really have as much weight as something can have, as a fight, or you know, a rivalry can have. So
yeah, you're right there. It is nice to see. It is nice to see. And if you'll notice, a lot of modern anime, the violence is never quite over the top like that. Well, one of the things that I love about how the violence is depicted is that the characters take the situations seriously and are very well developed, but the gore is almost like is over the top for a purpose, to get you to say, okay, yeah, it's visually appealing, but it's almost comical in the way that it's displayed and the way that it's especially if you watch it, you know, you watch the English dubbed version of the movie. Watching the English dubbed version of the movie, you get a lot of the voice acting almost has like a film noirish style of voice acting. I mean, you get this very nihilistic and just totally like hopeless feeling from a lot of these characters initially, and you get to see the level of depth and growth that happens throughout. Just in the movie, the way the movie starts out. By the end of the film, you're totally invested in the characters, and that's an accomplishment for an anime like that was designed to get you into the TV series, because at the time the TV series was still running, and what they wanted to do was use the movie as a way to sell you on the idea of these characters theatrically, so that you would tune into the TV show. and because the Japanese back then aired their cartoons at night.
Right.
So you would watch your cartoons at night the way we would watch, like dramas and TV shows and action and shows that were popular at the time. But Fist of the North Star in particular was all about just making a big budget theatrical version. And incidentally, did you notice when you watched the movie, you notice the blurring effect that was on some of the violence, the pinkish, rainbowish blur effect? Do you know that blur effect was added after the movie had one theatrical screening in Japan? The first time they showed the movie in Japan in theaters, it didn't have any of that blurring. They didn't do any of that. They did that as a result of the parental uproar that came from the level of over-the-top violence from that movie. The uncut version of that movie has never seen the light of day on home video.
Really? Oh, yeah. I would assume that this is before the times of the parental guidance and like all the rating systems. I was curious how things like that worked in Japan, but yeah, I would expect that they would at least have some warning, but hey, they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating because there's kind of a story out there that the original theatrical print that doesn't have any of the blurring or any of the censoring was lost in a studio fire, which is why it has never been released uncut to this day. But I don't believe that, because we're coming up on the 40th anniversary of Fist of the North Star. And when that happens within the next couple of years, I have a feeling that the only thing that they really have left, because they've already remastered the TV series and put it on Blu-ray. They've already put the movie on Blu-ray. So unless they're going to do, so I'm thinking if they're going to do if they're going to do like a 4K remastering of the movie, they're not going to do that unless they have an uncut print, because that's the only thing that that has never been released. It's never been seen. So in my mind, the best direction for them to go would be if they do have that print, if that print does exist somewhere, for them to go ahead and put that out. And that would be something I would love to see. I've had dreams of seeing this movie in a movie theater.
Yeah. I mean, now you could do it because like there were renting out theaters and stuff like that. That's possible.
I've had dreams of it. You know what I do, guys? What I like to do, I'll watch movies in VR every once in a while, and you can watch movies with virtual reality in a movie theater. And every once in a while, I'll watch Fist of the North Star in virtual reality, and it'll give me the illusion that I'm sitting in a movie theater watching it. That's how much I want to watch this movie in a theater. And I think that if it does get, like, if they do unearth that uncut print, that at some point, it might get a theatrical release.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe that they wouldn't have a copy of that. I mean, like you said, it was released at least to one theater and had one airing. So there has to be a copy in that particular theater, unless the company recalled all single copies and had it in that one building, which supposedly caught on fire. Hopefully.
Yeah, there's always, and that's the thing. Yeah. There's always that story that it was burnt when they don't have an answer as to why they haven't released it. They always say that, it's because it was burned in a studio fire. They said the same thing about the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie, that the actual studio prints were burned in a fire. Jonathan says here, "Hey Zod, did you know that there's a PS4 Fist of the North Star exclusive game that's on par with the series. Yes, I am aware of all of the Fist of the North Star video games of the lore. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is a PS4 game that is loosely based on the mythology of the manga and the TV series, but it takes some liberties and tells a bit of a different story. It kind of changes it up and does kind of like a what if kind of scenario kind of thing, and basically it doesn't tell the story in the exact way that everybody that's a fan of it knows. It's almost like a reimagining of the franchise as a whole. It's a great game. It's a lot of fun. But if you're a diehard Fist of the North Star purist like me, you have your issues with it, and it's kind of off-putting a little bit, especially when you consider that back in the year 2000, Sony put out a PlayStation 1 game that was exclusive in Japan. It was Fist of the North Star, and it covers the entire first arc of the manga in extreme detail. And it does it in like the form of a beat 'em up where like Ken goes from place to place, but it is incredible. The voice acting is superb. They got the voice actors from the original Japanese anime to come in and do the voices for this game. This game is early PlayStation polygonal because it's from the year 2000. But it is absolutely fantastic. It covers up all the way to the end of, I would say, like, I want a great portion of the manga. It goes almost to the end, but not quite. Like it gets up to a certain point, and then it stops, almost as if they could have made a second game if they wanted to. But it is so good. It is just the ultimate. If you are a Fist of the North Star fan and you like PlayStation 1 games, I highly recommend checking that out, because that is like bar none the greatest example of a Fist of the North Star video game. I think you would like it, but Lost Paradise, is a good game. And again, with Lost Paradise, you can play it on a modern console. You can play it on a PS4. So that's.
You didn't say nothing about Xbox. Now,
yeah, you can't play it on Xbox, unfortunately. Now there is a Fist of the North Star game you can get for Xbox. It's an old game. It came out for the Xbox 360. There's actually two. Fist of the North Star Ken's Rage and Fist of the North Star Ken's Rage 2. If you have an Xbox, I highly recommend checking out Fist of the North Star Ken's Rage 2, because it is like a Dynasty Warriors kind of experience. It's like Dynasty Warriors with a Fist of the North Star skin, but it has a lot of cut scenes, and it kind of, the second game, Ken's Rage 2, like basically reenacts the manga, and not just like the first 50% of the manga, like the PlayStation 1 game. I mean, this thing covers the entire manga from beginning to end. So if you want the complete story, you get this game and you play this game, and it will give you, I mean, it has the cut scenes and the voice acting and everything. It's incredible. It's another really fun game. I wouldn't say it still isn't my favorite Fist of the North Star video game, because honestly, the PlayStation 1 Fist of the North Star video game is my favorite video game of all time, because it literally captures so much of the story on one little disc. That was unheard of for PlayStation. I mean, back in the day, PlayStation games, a game like Final Fantasy VII was like on a bunch of discs. It was like a ton of discs. Whereas this game is so, expansive, and it's only one disc. Back in those days, that type of thing was unheard of. I don't know how they fit it all on there, to be honest with you, but it's a wonderful game. I love it so much that every other game, no matter how much like the graphics and stuff, no matter how graphically superior they are, to me they don't compare to the 2000 game. Now there's also, on the subject of video games, there's also a fighting game that came out for PlayStation 2 that's based on the Arc System arcade game, which is just like almost like a Street Fighter 2 style Fist of the North Star game where you're able to fight. It's like, have you ever heard of a video game fighting series called Guilty Gear X?
I have, yeah.
I haven't.
It's like that. It's like Guilty Gear. It's just with Fist of the North Star characters, and they look like their anime counterparts. They actually look like the movie versions of the characters, and it's very good. It's very fun, especially if you're if you love those characters, you grow to love those characters. It's a fun game to be able to play as all these characters. Getting into it, especially once you learn the lore, once you get off of the movie and you start getting into the TV show. So Carlos, for you, that moves us over into the category of the TV show. And you said you actually started checking that out, Carlos?
Yeah, it was very minimal. I had a very hectic weekend. I had Halloween with Halloween stuff, and I also work on the weekends as well as school. But I had a really nice time. I finally I actually had to go to Home Depot just to buy some cutting pliers just to make a hole into this because the rubber is so thick. But
so how did that turn out for you? Was Halloween okay?
It was great. My family went to a farm / festival. So like, around this time of year, people would do pumpkin picking. So this place did pumpkin picking, along with carnival games, Ferris wheel, and even like animals that you could feed. And it was really, really nice, fun for the whole family.
Awesome. That's great. I and for a second there, I thought Johnny was back with us, and then he cut out again. I don't know what happened. And we lost Sonia too. So I guess it's just you and I right now, Carlos. So you said your experience with the TV show is very minimal.
Yeah, and unfortunately, yeah. But and I wanted to bring this up earlier, but like I did I guess I would perform sacrilege to diehard fans, but I watched the dub first of the movie and the TV show. So
of the TV show, how many episodes of the TV show did you see?
Just like one. That's
you just watched the first?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you watch the TV series, if you get into the TV series, I highly recommend getting used to watching it in Japanese with English subtitles.
Yeah, no,
because the reason I say that is just because only the first, I want to say 25 episodes or so, maybe 36 episodes. There's 152 episodes total. So I think only like the first 36 episodes are available dubbed in English. Everything else is subtitled. So you're better off getting used to the characters in their original form, because that's how you're going to get them for the majority of the anime.
Right. Yeah. And obviously the intimidation factor and kind of the in the way that the Japanese voice actors speak is a lot more fitting, I guess you could say.
Yes. Johnny, are you back? Johnny.
That's unfortunate.
Sonia, are you back?
Oh, but I was asking you until something happened. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I'm planning on jumping into the series.
Okay.
And How
Yes.
many seasons are there? Or I should ask you, how
It's
many
100.
episodes?
It's 152 episodes
Oh
total.
wow! So
So it's a
okay,
long
I'm gonna be
series.
on
You
the
got a
wild.
long way to
Yeah, you
go.
will be. You know how I like to binge. So once
Oh
I
yeah,
start,
you'll binge it. You'll enjoy the hell out of it. It
yeah,
is fantastic. And as far as the lore goes, it's just a wonderful. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. You got so much. You got so much that you're going to get out of. You're going to get out of it. So much more in comparison to say the movie, which I think the movie is great, but the TV series dwarfs it, because once you get past a certain point, I mean the whole arc of the movie is finished up relatively quickly. I mean, they get through all those arcs within the first half of the series. Hello, Simon. So you said that you watched the first episode and you watched it dubbed in English?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I did watch a few clips and like the fight between Kenshiro and Rao from the movie. I watched that subbed. Yeah. Like, I'm no stranger to watching subs. By the way, I actually like one thing I did. Funny enough, like with an episode with a TV show that I love, like The Boys.
Yes.
I do have my initial watch through in English, of course, the way like it was initially filmed. But there, Amazon has graced us with many translations and dubs. So I watched the Japanese dub, and it's hilarious. So yeah, I'm no stranger to that, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad because if you like Fist of the North Star, you're gonna and you enjoyed the movie, I think you're gonna love the show.
oh,
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's a bit off topic, but I was gonna ask Carlos, since he's been watching anime on Prime. Have you seen Drop Kick My Devil? Have you watched that one yet?
I haven't watched that one. Like I actually am not like a big anime head. But I did but watch.
Hold on just 1 second. Sorry to interrupt. Johnny, are you there?
Yeah, man. I finally got a clear signal. I don't know what's been up with StreamYard, but
thank God. Oh my God, Johnny. Wow. I was getting Johnny, I'm literally sitting here sweating right now. I'm like, what happened?
I know you were there. You were happy for me when I became Fist of the South Star. You were happy for your friend. You didn't try to betray me like Shin did. You didn't finger fuck my chest 7 times. So yeah, we're all good, man. Don't worry about it.
And then take my girl or take your girl. Yeah, that's
no, Shin. She doesn't like Ken. She likes you. Honestly, she tells me about you all the time. I can't believe he fell for that, man. That's like the greatest line ever.
I'm talking like you can tell in the movie, even just in the movie, that she's so in love with Ken that there's no. I mean, my God, their connection, the chemistry between those voice actors was fantastic. Yeah. Whether you watch it in English or Japanese, it's incredible. And Simon asked, "Did you watch the motion picture with Gary Daniels?" Yes,
hell yeah.
And we do not speak about that Gary Daniels movie on this show. It's a good movie. I'm not gonna lie. For an old 90s HBO produced film, it wasn't bad. They took the source material and they tried to condense it like Hollywood always does, and the result was mediocre with some bright spots.
It's odd. Before, hopefully my connection doesn't get chopped up again, but before it does, I wanted to ask you something, because you've kind of hinted at this in some of our talks before, but we never really got into it. And you've always kind of been into the idea of Zack Snyder doing a live action Fist movie for American audiences. And who would you think he should get to play some of the main characters, man? Like, what would you kind of see with that?
But it's obviously I would be casting if I were if that would be a dream come true, by the way, if Zack Snyder did a Fist of the North Star movie. And I have to say, honestly, that's like a wet dream for me right now, just thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, that is incredible. Like, but it'd be hard because I think whoever they cast as Kenshiro has to be Japanese. So you need a Japanese actor who's buff. You need a Japanese actor who can actually emote and act and can do all the martial arts. It's got to be somebody good. So right off the top of my head, I don't know. For a lot of these characters, particularly depending on how deeply the movie would go, like for Shin, I mean, you could cast a professional wrestler to play Shin. You could cast a professional wrestler to play Rao. You could cast a professional wrestler to play Ray.
Hey, that Randy Orton guy, man, he actually looks like Rao. Like they could actually be a good casting.
He could play Randy Orton could play Rao. I could see that. What about you, Carlos?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. I mean, Zack Snyder directing this, I think it's right up his alley, and I'd love to see that put to film. Just the more stylistic elements of it, I don't know how that would translate. Like, you know, brains exploding and hearts beating out of chests and stuff like that.
Well, I that's the one area where I could recommend to you maybe checking out the live action Gary Daniels Fist of the North Star movie that they did in the 90s. Check it out. Just watch it just as a curiosity. Don't expect it to be good like the movie or the manga or the TV show, but what you'll get out of it is you'll get a general idea of how they kind of try to emote that type of violence in live action.
It's not half bad, dude. If you like Ricky O, you can watch the Fist of the North Star movie. I'm a huge Ricky O fan, like, and that's straight from Asia, and that's just as bad as the Fist movie, in my opinion. Anybody who's seen Ricky O can agree with me on that.
Yes. Ricky O. Oh my God. Ricky O. It's like for me on a Saturday when I just want to like just chill out and not do anything and just like waste my life and just eat a pizza and just not get off the couch. For me, it doesn't get any better than watching that cheesy Gary Daniels Fist of the North Star and watching Ricky O as a double bill. I've done it before. I've done it before, and I will tell you. And then I finish up the night with another cheesy Gary Daniels movie called Cold Harvest. I don't know if any of you've seen it, but if I take all three of those films, that's a Saturday. I'll tell you, that's something else. Especially if you don't have to work and you don't have anything to do and you just want to chill. Those three movies together, I'm like.
Did Gary Daniels do the Crying Freeman movie with Mark Dacascos? Because that one actually turned out pretty good. I
love that movie. That movie is a guilty pleasure of mine. It's a very artistic 90s adaptation to a great anime. Well, an anime that started out great, but kind of did its own thing. I mean, I the first couple episodes were fire, but after that, you're just kind of like, God, it's just so exciting to be talking about this. I don't know, you guys. I'm like, I feel like a kid again, man. Like it's. Well, incredible.
I still think like what we talked about for hours last week after our first episode, the Takashi Miike Japanese film adaptation of Fist of the North Star would probably be the best thing we could ever hope for, because that way it would be cast the way you wanted it with like actual Japanese actors. Because like if it got brought over to America, they'd be like, Tom Hardy has to be Ken. You know that Tom Hardy was going to be Ken. You know what I mean? Either that or Chris Hemsworth. So yeah,
I don't know. I don't know, because when we go back to your thought process where you said about possibly Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder is known for thinking outside the box. So if he were to do that movie, I would expect some really inspired unknown choices. He would probably surprise everybody with who he would pick, because he's kind of a perfectionist when it comes to the look of these characters. So I would expect him to cast people based on how they actually look in the manga. Because I would say he would adapt it from the manga, but I would expect Mike to do the same thing. I would expect him to adapt the manga almost frame by frame if he was trying. And that's the thing for me, Johnny. I don't know what direction they would go. Do you follow the path of the movie, or do you try to follow the path of the manga? I would say you do the manga if you're planning on doing multiple films.
Yeah, I would say that like they would probably have Mike do an adaptation of the movie. I really would think that that's where the Japanese would go with their adaptation of it, at least at first.
Yeah, because unless they were planning to go like the TV series route, trying to adapt the manga would take forever. You'd have arc after arc after arc, so you're kind of a little pressed there. It'd be a big franchise thing. I know that I would love to see a modern adaptation. I really would. If it came out of Japan, or if you got like a visionary director to come in and direct it, I think it could be done justice. But I don't know.
A miniseries on HBO Max.
Well, that's another thing. A miniseries on HBO Max. I mean, come on. You can. Well, what do you think, Sonia? Do you think Fist of the North Star would work as a live action movie or series in the modern day?
Yeah, I think it would. And like you were saying, Zack Snyder, if he were to produce a film or a mini series, I mean, I can just imagine the violence, and the.
Yeah, I think he would love the over the top violence. I mean,
exactly. It'll be, and you know how I feel about gore. I don't think I hold anything back, So yeah, but I think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I was actually just like I just looked up Ricky O, and
good.
I looked up.
You'll love it.
I looked up like some of the first things I saw on YouTube, and I just saw like a little fight scene clip, and the main character just slaps the back of somebody's head, and the eyeball just pops out, and then he just guts his stomach and pulls out his intestines and tries to choke him with it. Like
See? The same thing as in Fist of the North Star.
It's a little it was a little much for me. I don't know if you saw me emoting just a minute ago.
I'm sorry, Carlos, for totally corrupting you right now.
I mean, I'm not averse to it. I know it's all for the art. But
no, it's not. Dog, it is not an art film. It's basically on par with the Double Dragon movie from the 90s, just with some more anime-esque violence to it. I mean, like when the guys transform into like the big muscular versions, the effects look so horrible, but it's so beautiful at the same time, man. Just beautiful trash cinema at its finest.
I guess what gets me is it's the practical effects. The practical effects is just way too much, but that's what gives it its charm.
Yeah, well, one thing I can say is if you watch the live action Fist of the North Star with Gary Daniels, it's not nearly violent. It's not violent at all on the level of anything of Riccio or even the animated Fist of the North Star movies. It's what they do is basically they allude to it. Like Ken will fight somebody and they'll start to show the effects of the head is starting to cringe, starting to contort, like the body is starting to contort like it's going to explode. But they never really show anything on screen. It's just kind of it's off screen, and you hear the sounds of the
Yeah, like I'm not squeamish. I'm like, well, I'm good. You just saw me scream right there.
But what I'm saying is it's more of an illusion. It's more like almost like a homage to the source material rather than being like a faithful adaptation, because it
Also-
goes off on its own level completely.
Right.
Yeah, and they made the movie for about $15. So
Yeah,
there's only so much they could pull off.
One good thing though is that it has the late Chris Penn from Reservoir Dogs,
Yes.
Nice Guy Eddie. If you've ever seen the movie Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs, he's in the movie, and it's nice to see him in the film.
He was also Millard in the Footloose, man, the greatest movie ever made. Kevin Bacon taught him how to dance.
I have to say, we're gonna check in with the chat here. Jonathan, thank you so much for the chat. Thank you guys for participating. I love this. I could see Tarantino and George Miller collaborating on directing, similar to how Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino collaborated for Grindhouse, Planet Terror, Death Proof, and Sin City. Yes, I would not mind something like that.
Oh, so you already talked about the Fury Road?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I was waiting for you to bring that up.
I was just
cool.
Give a quick thing with that. I like Tarantino is is a director that I could see that could do this very well. Like, I was just thinking of like Kill Bill and how they did it, and even in the Kill Bill Volume 1 movie, they had an anime section in it, which was I believe was done very well. So like I would actually love if if a modern live action take for Fist of the North Star would have kind of those elements to have anime elements into it, even entire scenes.
You want to see a rad, very Tarantino-esque anime that is like Fist of the North Star? Check out Afro Samurai. It was a 6-part OVA they actually aired, I think, on Spike TV originally, and it's so good. It's very Tarantino-esque, man. You'll dig it. Really grindhousey, really over the top. Sam Jackson does voice in it. Ron Perlman's up in there. Like, there's a lot of really good voice talent to that OVA.
And now you were going to make a point, and you said about the Fury Road connection. You want to talk about that, Johnny?
Well, you're the one that actually told me about it, and I guess originally the story of Fury Road, George Miller dreamt it up as a crossover between Mad Max and Kenshiro. Like, they were legitimately supposed to take that trip with that diesel truck together. And I could just imagine what that'd have been like, because that movie's already such a visual spectacle, but just imagine like Kenshiro up on top of the truck, just jump kicking motorbikes and shit. You know,
and the reason I'm glad you brought that up was because Carlos was saying earlier before you got back on about how Fury Road was his first experience with the Mad Max franchise. Yeah. So there you go. There's the connection once again, the Mad Max Fist of the North Star connection. It's huge. They were going at one point, Fury Road was not only going to be a Kenshiro Mad Max team up, but it was going to be a theatrical anime. And it was going to be Madhouse was set to do the animation. Mm-hmm. And it was going to be big, and George Miller was going to direct.
Oh, that sounds like awesome.
Yeah.
The only thing I would wonder is like how would they bring in the kind of spiritual elements of the story of Fist of the North Star, because they have chi and like all these like pressure points and all these things. I want like unless you're just gonna just say, oh, it's there, and in the Mad Max universe, then like I would just wonder how they would translate that.
Yeah, I wonder about that too. It's unfortunate that it didn't happen, because it was very, very close to happening. That allegedly was like the movie that the movie that Miller really wanted to make. Like that was the thing. Like that was his, allegedly that was his idea, because he's friends with Brunson and Hara, the original creators of the manga for Fist of the North Star. So it was a brainstorm between them, and it eventually became the Tom Hardy live action movie that we got. So.
Also, if you're familiar with Madhouse's films, those guys don't really like over exposition in their stories. If you watch movies like Dead Leaves or Redline or some of their bigger films, they're not big on exposition. It's just like, dude, this is happening. It's really exciting. Watch it. And that's kind of how their movies go anyway. So I don't think they would have really over-explained how Kenshiro's Kung Fu works in the realistic world of Mad Max. It would just be, an explosion on screen, and then it'd be over. Because that's why I love Madhouse.
I'm wondering what they would have done. If Mad Max would have essentially just been Mad Max like he always is, with no special fighting ability or anything, and then Kenshiro would have just been Kenshiro. Like they would have just assumed going in that the audience that's going to watch this movie is going to know who these characters are, and so these characters are going to be who they are. It's just essentially saying Kenshiro is taking place on a different part of the world than Mad Max, and now their worlds are colliding for whatever reason.
They're a really good team to pair up, because Kenshiro doesn't seem to be able to get around too fast. He doesn't know how to drive. Bart's not driving him. He's just walking. Whereas Mad Max, he can't fight unless he's got a sawed-off shotgun. He's getting his ass beat, but he can drive anything with wheels. So yeah, that's a good team up. Like Kenshiro does the fighting, Max does the driving, and yeah, that's how I kind of see it. Instead of having, like Furiosa or the Nux kid would go out and kind of shoot down the bad guys. I think if the anime film came out, it'd have just been Kenshiro out on top of the big rig, just jump kicking and gummy and stuff, just doing the 100 fists and all the great stuff. You are already dead.
I was thinking, I'm like, if they were gonna have that team up, would Kenshiro kind of I know he's more of a lone operator, but would that spiritual element be translated to the Mad Max characters, and then their spirituality is not channeled, and their chi and stuff like that is not channeled into their fists and their body and stuff like that, but it's actually channeled into their car, and then that would be an extension of themselves, and they would start doing crazy things with their cars. I don't know.
That sounds like something that Madhouse would do, actually, man. If you watch Redline or Dead Leaves or the
I was just gonna say, so the red line point you brought up, so
I know because with the people the war dogs or war pups or whatnot with in the Immortan Joe camp and stuff like that, they kind of take driving as a religion, so having that having their connection to the car, that'd be something fun to explore.
Yeah, they'd have probably had some kind of weird psychic thing with the car that would make it drive really fast, and because oh man, if you've never really watched one of the movies that Madhouse made, where they just show off their artistic ability, because that's basically what half their films were. If you watch Paprika, Perfect Blue, Redline, Dead Leaves, these movies are tech demos of just the incredible animation they could pull off. So just imagining the weird stuff that could have possibly come from Madhouse animating, this steering wheel religion, and how it would have tied in with chi, and I'm just making myself want it even more. I want to find out how to break world lines, man. I'll John Teeter style and go to the world line where that movie actually got made.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds lit to me.
I would like to see that. I would like to see that movie, and it's funny because it makes me wonder if that's something that is still on George Miller's mind. If he could continue on, if that's what he would do. I'm wondering if that could still happen. I mean, because
I was also thinking I know this is kind of like unrelated, but I don't know. It's just some fun theory I saw about Judge Dredd being in the same universe as Mad Max, but that's just in America. But I don't know how well that would work. But it's just
as long as it was the Carl Urban one, I think it could work really fine. Because, like you said, it'd be in America. Somehow Max would be able to cross some kind of dune sea from Australia and end up in Mega City. You know, they'd have to figure out some goofy thing like that, but that would actually be really good, especially like if they do the Carl Urban movie Dread, because that was so grounded in reality. He didn't have flying motorcycles or any of that shit. Yeah, that would be so cool.
Could you imagine Mad Max, Judge Dredd, and Kenshiro? The amount of badassery in that movie.
They destroy the world. Yeah, the bad guys wouldn't need to do anything, man. They'd destroy it, man.
It brings new meaning to having all your toys in the sandbox.
What's up, Jesse Allen? Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, it's incredible what they could do with it, and I have to believe that the 40th anniversary of Fist of the North Star is going to bring something great. Don't you think so, Johnny? Especially with the announcement that the manga is finally being released officially in the United States.
Dude, I'm really telling you, man, like the format that they're putting it out into, they're going to be pushing a new anime for it, dude. Like, legit. I think because the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure people are pretty much out of that source material, I really think that Fist is going to be the next big project. And it's like JoJo, because like JoJo's been huge in Japan since the 70s, and it took until 3 years ago for people over here to even find out about it. So yeah, like I think that they're going to try to do the same thing with Fist, which I'm down for, because I love the JoJo anime, and as much as I love the old Fist of the North Star anime, I would love to see it redone all hyper stylized like the JoJo show.
What was your opinion of the revival movies that they did not too long ago, where they redubbed it with high quality animation, and they told different arcs? What did you think of that?
I really liked the ones where they just redid the arcs from the TV show and films. Pretty good. The six, but the new Adventures of Fist of the North Star that ADV put out, I hated those.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that. That OVA, I don't consider that OVA part of Fist of the North Star. I actually view that as like one of those bad sequels you just forget about and never talk about ever again.
Those new Fist movies, they were like just like the Berserk movies. They were neat and everything, but I prefer stuff like Tales of the Dark King, something that expands the universe, teaches you more about Rao than just like seeing the same story kind of rehashed, but not even done in a better way.
Now that's a series that when Carlos gets done with Fist of the North Star, he gets done with the anime, he can watch Tales of the Dark King and come back here and tell us how he really feels.
It's really cool. It's one of the neatest spin-off shows ever, because it's about these two underlings of Rao and just like the weird jobs that they do in this universe. But it teaches you so much more about what actually goes on in the Fist universe.
And it actually leads in concurrently with stuff that is going on in the regular Fist of the North Star timeline. You actually get different perspectives from other characters. It is so well done. And you know what's funny? Initially, when I started watching Legends of the Dark King, I didn't think I was going to like it, and I ended up loving it. I ended up loving it so much that I bought it on Blu-ray, and I'm so happy that I hung on to that Blu-ray, because that Blu-ray is like worth a fortune now.
They only ran that show once. It's out of print, right? Like, damn. It sucks too, because that should be one that like they run all the time. Because I don't see spin-offs to other shows that good. Like Macross hasn't had a spin-off show that good ever, in my opinion.
No.
Gundam either. Like, dude, Tales from the Dark King is one of the best spin-offs from main storyline animes ever made, in my opinion.
And it doesn't. And what I love about it is it doesn't do anything egregious that makes you feel like it ruins anything. All it does is add to the mythology, which is what I really appreciated as a fan. Like I'm like, if they can do that with Fist of the North Star, they can do that with other franchises, like with the Mandalorian. How the Mandalorian in Star Wars is just expanding on the mythology, giving us more, opening it all up, and that's kind of how I look at Legends of the Dark King. I look at it as almost like Fist of the North Star's Mandalorian. I was kind of hoping that that after they did that they would have actually gone and made some more spin-offs based on some of the other Fist of the North Star side books that exist.
Right. Because I mean, I always thought that Rao was just kind of a big idiot, like in the main series and stuff. But Tales from the Dark King actually show
that he isn't.
Yeah, he's actually really intelligent, and he's actually more caring than like the main series makes him out to be. You just have to understand where he's coming from, and he's the greatest guy that ever lived. You know what I mean? Type of dude to you, as long as you were on his idealism.
Right. But like I will say this, the TV series really develops these characters in the depth of the characters. Like by the end of it, like I will say that like Rao is so much more developed, you know, between Fist of the North Star, the animated series, and then the Legends of the Dark King, you know, so much. Versus when you watch the movie, Rao is a bit one-dimensional.
Yeah.
You will, and you'll see that, Carlos. You'll learn so much, like the characters. You'll learn so much about these characters. For example, Ray's arc in the movie compared to his arc in the TV show is night and day. I mean, the arc that they give him in the TV show is so epic. I don't know how you feel about a Ray's arc in the TV show, Johnny, but to me, I mean,
yeah, he was a lot more interesting, a lot more gripping, a lot more. They tried to really make him melodramatic in the movie because of just how good his character was on the show, and I guess they couldn't really introduce all of his backstory line. Dude, Shin's another one. Shin, you kind of just think as a throwaway shit villain, but when you watch the show, he's actually pretty interesting, and he really understands like what he's up to and what he's doing. It's just
they develop him
too much. Yeah.
And you will get, and Carlos, you're going to get to a point in the series after a while, you're going to be thinking, my God, Shin is an amazing character too. Because what they do is that, like Johnny said, they give you a lot of, the TV show will give you a lot of stuff where you'll feel like, at first you'll feel like Shin is a paper thin character, just like he was in the movie. But as it goes on, you're gonna learn, especially, you know, when you get into the middle of the series, you're gonna learn more and more, and then like
Shin was basically a bigger hippie than Ken and Julia put together. He wanted to save everybody, and then finally it just slowly decomposed inside of him that he was never going to be able to pull it off, and that's kind of how he became in the way he is. And it's really interesting and captivating the way he builds him up. And as much as I like his character in the movie, like when you watch the show, you're actually kind of really understand how a guy could like go from like his original ideas to actually being kind of a fascist. You know what I mean? It's really kind of neat how they really get into the dichotomy of the characters. It's a lot better than most other fighter animes do, because I've watched Bleach and I watched these other shows where like it always builds in like, oh, you thought that was the last bad guy? Nope, it's actually your other brother. But the thing about Fist is like these characters are actually like way more defined, and I don't know, and you just really get to go through them once, you know what I mean? But when you do, it's just such a rich experience. And like, there's even one brother you don't meet, Toki, who's kind of like this like Jesus hippie type character who's rejects fighting and stuff.
He was completely,
like, when Ken hangs out with him, it's so great.
From the movie, yeah, they completely cut Toki out of the movie, but I kind of could understand why.
Yeah,
because the theatrical, right? The theatrical movie. Not having Toki in there, the idea for the theatrical movie, and what a lot of people don't realize with that when they criticize because I've read a lot of people criticizing the fact that Toki wasn't in the movie. And what they don't understand about Toki is the movie was supposed to be the first in a franchise of films. They were planning on doing more movies. It was just going, but the idea was they wanted to hype up the TV series. They wanted the movie to be like a big budget advertisement for the TV show so that you could be invested, because the TV show was airing at night like almost like a soap, like a drama type, like soap thing that people would tune into, like say Dallas or Dynasty or one of those long running melodramas that would air in the night that your grandmother would watch. It's like a freaking, so the idea that, Toki would have been explored in feature theatrical films had they continued making theatrical films. But I don't know. I think after the over-the-top reaction of the first theatrical film, that's the reason why they never made any other theatrical movies. It's like...
Because if they were to put him in the first one, it would have just been a weird tangent that would have made... it just would have made the middle of the film drag, or towards the end of the film drag, if they actually tried to stick his arc in there somewhere. So he was
it would have
definitely
been hard.
something that
I agree with you 100%. I think that what would have happened is it would have almost been like this. You could swap out Ray's arc and throw Toki in there, and you could still have had Toki in there, but you couldn't have had it. You couldn't have had both. There was no way that the movie could have facilitated both.
Because I love his animations in the film where he kind of runs by and he does that whole like sachet fashion dance, but he's like chopping people up while he's doing it. I love that animation. Like if I could just GIF something and just play it to whenever anything cracks me up, it would be Ray doing his little run, chopping through fools with his limp wrists, fighting technique, man. It's just one of the greatest things I've ever seen in any cartoon ever.
Yes.
It's right there with when Ken kicks that fat guy's stomach and makes it into a whirlpool. There's just like
Mr. Hart. Yes. Mr. Hart. Oh my God. Mr. Hart. I don't, there's something to be said about the voice acting for at least the movie. We can all agree that whether you watch the movie in Japanese or you watch it in English, it's great. Like the English voice acting is just so perfect for the movie. I mean, it's just like, wow. Like you're watching it, you're like,
Shin, I will never love you. Julia, you have no choice.
It's so matter of fact. Like
you have no choice. You're mine. Yeah, just like so rapey, but so like yeah. Oh, yeah. But Juan Carlos, you ever watch? Have you ever watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Just wondering.
No. Like I know, like I know I don't seem so interesting, but yeah, I haven't.
Well, I know that you like DBZ and you're into fighter stuff, and dude, I'm not a gatekeeper. I am happy to teach you one thing at a time and let you pick it up and run with it at your own speed. But I think you might actually like JoJo a little better than Fist of, because it's not gory, it's not violent. It's actually kind of more artistic and surreal and over the top. So yeah, if you ever get a chance, I would say definitely at least give that a little bit of a go. Plus the if you get the new anime, it's just so beautiful, man. It's just such a beautiful adaptation of the manga.
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of know about it because like there's a lot of parallels to draw between that and Persona, and I love the Persona franchise, and I played 4 and 5, but yeah, I'd like to get into that. Like, I also like playing D&D, and like the monk is my favorite character. So like whenever you're looking for inspirations for campaigns and stuff, you would naturally look to anime for inspiration. And one of the more recent additions to D&D is a subclass called the Way of the Astral Self, which is a monk that could channel his fighting spirit and have a stand, as JoJo fans would say it, or a persona. So yeah, I do know a fair bit about it, but yeah, and I am interested in it, but I haven't really been introduced to it.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, like, I'm a little jealous of you, man. I've actually never gotten to play D&D, and it's not because of lack of trying, man. I just never knew anybody who played it, and I actually feel like I missed out on a key part of nerddom because I watch like Stranger Things and stuff, and it's like, oh man, look at all that nerd fun that I missed out on not playing D&D.
I mean, it's for everybody. Literally all you need is an imagination, because like there's no how do you say skill gap. So like so literally you just need imagination, and you'd get invested in your character, and you'd want the best for your character, and ultimately if your GM is a good GM or DM would they wouldn't want your character to die, because in a way you are making your own story with you're making your own anime, manga, you're making your own TV show that your characters play throughout, and there is arcs, and there's bosses and sub bosses, and villains, and reoccurring villains and allies and stuff like that. So like I mean, I'd love to introduce that to you. Like I like GMing myself. I did have a one shot, which it might be a good intro. Just a few just one session, a few hours, and you'd have a pre-made character, or you can make your own character specific for that session, and you would have a conflict to resolve. So the one that I did with my friends, which was really awesome, was each person in the party, so each player is a representative of their own respective nation, and they are very strong. They're high level, so like out of 20 levels, they're level 15, and they are sent to this island, which is basically the gateway to all the different realms in the multiverse. So and they are to be a representative for their people. And then an ancient evil breaks out, and that was locked away, and this ragtag group of diplomats have to solve this and save the multiverse.
Sounds pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, I just never had knew anybody who played, so I kind of missed out, and I always felt bad. I mean, I know all about the 20-side die and leveling up your character. The closest I got is I had some friends that played Magic the Gathering, and I was just like, hell no, I'm not doing that. I'd rather play like the real D&D if I'm going to do anything like that.
Yeah, well,
I would like to check it out.
Yeah, if you're interested, there are resources you can find online, PDFs, and like some videos to kind of guide you through the character making process and the role playing process. And a lot of online tools, like with what we use, we didn't go in person, even though I do have a physical mat that you could draw on with marker and make blueprints of the environments that you'd be playing in. You could do that all online now, and that's what me and my friends did.
Yeah,
with Roll20.
I have a buddy that. I have a buddy that told me that like they're going to start streaming their campaigns on Twitch, doing their D&D and stuff, and they were asking if I would be interested in doing my first time ever playing on that, and I was just like, that could be interesting.
It's awesome. It's a good
Twitch
experience.
Before. Cool, yeah. But back to anime. Oh, dude! Like I could teach you so much, and it's like comics. Anime is probably my third obsession. So whatever you're into, if you can like give me a couple of your favorite things, I could probably give you a pretty good list of stuff that you could probably check out and enjoy at some point if you're interested.
Yeah, superheroes, like that's kind of like the number one for me. Like I always I always like love the larger than life superhero, that is either flawed or morally perfect.
Start at the beginning, man. Robot Fighter Kashan, and check out what's it called? Robot Fighter Kashan, and what's the other? The Guyver. If you want to watch really good superhero anime, Robot Fighter Kashan and the Guyver, man. Those are old school, really good. Little gory, but still, man,
Mazinger Z pretty good. Mazinger Z is pretty good too.
Yeah, Mazinger Z. That's actually that's giant robot superhero, but It's cool. Actually, what's the other one that a Go Nagai does that actually wears the cape? Is it Robo? Yeah. Robo is actually a giant mech that wears a cape, which always cracks me up when I see it.
That is pretty funny.
I don't know why it cracks me up, but it's like, why doesn't the robot need a cape? Whatever, that's gangster, you know what I mean? That is what it is.
The robot needs a cape, yeah.
But talking about the Mandalorian a little bit ago, ZodWriter, like, what'd you guys think about that first episode? I mean, did that just blow you away or what?
Yeah, I did. I did get to watch
that first episode better than I like the whole last season.
That's what a lot of people were saying, and like I do really like the first episode. So I know a lot of people have like 4K TVs now, and I don't have a 4K TV, and I couldn't like see the whole last scene, last sequence, and it's all its full glory, because I know they shot it all on IMAX. But I really did watch it. But the first time I watched it, it was at work, and I was huddled over my desk because I work at a front desk. I'm a receptionist, or a concierge, and every time a resident would walk by, I'd have to sneak it away and stuff. So I got it in little bits and pieces, but I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I ain't tripping about no 4. I ain't tripping about no 4K. I got bad eyesight, anyways. I don't even know how bad. So, but I just loved it because it was just such a return to classic Western. It reminded me of one of my favorite old films, Broken Arrow, starring Jimmy Stewart, but like in space with a giant worm. And I just really, really loved Timothy Olyphant as the sheriff in the Boba Fett armor. I thought he was just such a great character. He's one of my favorite actors anyways. He's a hometown hero of mine. He's from Modesto, California, just like I am. So whenever I see him in something, it's always cool. But dude, he was amazing as Cobb. What's his name?
Cobb Vanth.
I just loved him and Mando's friendship. I thought the whole episode just shined. Plus, it also reminded me of a side mission from one of my favorite video games, The Other Worlds, or the Outer Worlds.
The Outer World, yeah.
Which got me thinking, like, those guys should make a Mandalorian game. I would play the hell out of that if the Outer Worlds
Mandalorian game would be cool, or at least something in that timeline.
Yeah, what I super appreciated was I don't know why I just like love the Tusken Raiders for some reason, but I love that they're shown to be basic, like they're sentient beings. I don't know if under all those wraps and the cloaks and the mask and stuff like that, if they look anything like us, but I love that they had a lot of character, and the reference to Jaws when one of them dropped the missile and or the bomb, and the guy was saying, "Hey, that's an explosive," and I love the incorporation of them into the episodes, so they're not just some rogue force that just hey, if you're on Tatooine, just be careful for them because they're gonna mess up your whole day. I did like how that was alluded to last season when Mando was with that one bounty hunter, and he was like, just give him your goggles and give him the binoculars and they'll let you through. So I really did like that.
Yeah, I really like that they're giving these kind of smaller races that we get to see a little more agency. You get to you're also getting to understand the Jawas a lot more in these episodes, because when Mando dealt with them in the first season, and then you get Cobb's perspective, like the Jawas aren't as awful as like Uncle Owen and stuff made him look in the first films. Like, you can actually really work with them. Like, as long as you have something that they really want, they'll hook you up. Which I kind of like that he's doing that, because like I always liked these smaller races like the Sand People and the Jawas, and he's like really giving you more to work with everything that you grew up loving, and it doesn't seem like a cop out. You know what I mean? He's actually making them more interesting and better. Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait for the second episode because I personally think that that episode did more for Star Wars than the last 6 films did, except for maybe Rogue One, because it took it all the way back to where it originally was, man, like a samurai / cowboy story in space. This guy comes to a town, it needs help. He puts his, he throws his gun in with the sheriff, and they just, oh, it was beautiful. It's what Star Wars needs to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
And I think it's really refreshing to see kind of these very, I guess you could say, human conflicts, of just, two small groups of people, and, just an animal that's terrorizing the town and stuff like that. It's not like this, galactic empire with, thousands of spaceships and Death Star that could eradicate 5 planets at a time and stuff like that. It's really really refreshing compared to what the the movies have done.
Yeah, and it was a neat monster too. I really like, what was it? The Crate Dragon is what it was
The
called.
Crate Dragon, yeah.
It was almost like like Tremors.
Like Tremors, but like that thing was way huger. Plus, I love the scene when that sand person brought the Banta out, called for it, and then ran. But like the dragon comes out and eats him instead of the Banta. Like I lost it that. I was
Yeah,
like,
that
that's
was
messed
awesome.
up.
So I guess we can go ahead and do final thoughts on Fist of the North Star. We've got about we covered a little bit here. We're gonna have to revisit this topic after Carlos has had a chance to see more of the TV show.
Definitely.
But who is your favorite character in the film?
Who's my favorite character? I did like is his name Bat? The guy, the kid that was driving the that one car.
Yeah,
I did like him, and Ray was really nice. Yeah, a lot of them are likable. So I guess I'm gonna give my final thoughts on the film. I really did appreciate everything that was in it. It is a film, so like there are certain restrictions, and like you said, I didn't know about the cutout character, that brother, but yeah, and at least in the first half, it seemed like every character was kind of a flat character, and not flat as in not flat in a bad way. That like I'm trying to use like the literary or film terminology, that they don't really change. You know what I mean? They're kind of set in their morality and their ideology, and it's never really challenged. And which is something that is kind of common in anime, is the stagnant character, and which I can't blame it, because it is a very old show. It's been out for many years, but yeah, that like immovable morality and like stoic nature, and always having the answer to everything is kind of
very noir.
It is very noir. It really is. But I guess I'm so like nowadays we're so bombarded with the sympathetic villain, good and conflicted protagonists and stuff like that. So I guess that's where my bias comes in. But yeah, I can't wait to see what happens in the whole TV series. I'm pretty sure it's much different, and there's much more nuance. And I'm really excited, and this was a really nice dip in the water.
Awesome. Johnny, your final thoughts?
Well, my favorite characters are weird. Like from the movie, I probably really like what's his name, the Cobalt, the big giant guy that Rao fights and throws into the mountain. I loved, for some reason, just like that character and how big of a dick he was. And then aside from that, I like Rao. Like, I don't know why, even though like when I originally thought he was an idiot, he was a very interesting one. And because I like Carlos, I watched the movie first, and I liked that, like, dude, he was like legit gonna murder Ken and the little girl, and then he just kind of stops himself like a regular person would do and be like, hey, I'm just kind of being a dick right now, aren't I? Yeah, you know what? Like, I'm gonna leave. You can take him. If I see him again, I'm gonna fuck him up again. But like, yeah, like, I'm sorry I almost stepped on you, and I'll try to be better. And I absolutely love that. That's how basically the movie ended. You know what I mean? The bad guy didn't change. He didn't lose, but like, he somewhat became a more, at least, conscious person in a weird way. And I don't know, just kind of a neat character change that you don't see very often.
It ends like that because they planned to continue making more films.
Right.
So the idea is the idea was that wasn't supposed to be the final fight between Rao and Kenshiro. They were going to meet again. But it's just that the ending was that was just to end that particular arc. But yeah, I don't know.
But I liked that it ended with him starting to change his philosophy, but not doing a complete flip. You know what I mean? He's just kind of like, you know what, I am kind of being a dick right now, aren't I? You know what, I'm going to go work on that. But if I do see him again, I'm going to kick his ass. But yeah, see you guys later.
Right, and you and I had a discussion off air prior to this about the ending, about how the original Japanese ending had Ken dying, and the ending where he's walking through the forest searching for Yuria or Julia, depending on your translation. He was in like a purgatory, searching for her between heaven and hell. It was very very surrealistic.
Very 70s Japanese manga. There's a lot of like ones that I've read that are like legit in like that. They have the tragic hero death. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that they changed it. Like, because you can still take the film that way if you wanted to. But I thought that like, it was meant to be, just a setup, and Ken was supposed to, go and try to find Julia, but she'd move on. She'd like made a forest, and now she's gonna like make another one, and like Ken's gonna have to keep looking. And you know what? That I would love to see them just get those animators back and make those films just with that. Like, I don't care if it's flashy modern animation. I love the way that movie looks.
Yeah, dude. I would love to see more done. I would actually love to see more films done in that original style. That'd be great. They can bring the same voice actors back, the surviving ones.
Because it seemed like somewhat of a minimal style, because people tell me that the Berserk anime that me and you both love, the original show, was kind of a budget title, was kind of a minimal animation type thing compared to a lot of other shows. So I think it would probably be kind of easier to like even do more movies and shows that look like that nowadays, since that's kind of considered a minimal style. And I would love to see it, because if it's minimal or not, it's gorgeous in my opinion. Both the original Berserk anime and the North Star movie, just man, that's what gritty anime should look like in my opinion in the story.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you were able to come in at the tail end, Hugo. I hope you like Fist of the North Star, because we talked a lot about that today. And, I want to thank both you, Johnny, and you, Carlos, for being on with me tonight for this show. And I want to thank Sonia for popping in and being a part of today's show, too. It was an absolute pleasure to talk about my all-time favorite Japanese franchise with you guys.
It was a pleasure being here.
Yeah, if you guys are looking for more fun stuff like this, also check out Lady Snowblood, Blade of the Immortal, and Vagabond. Also, really, really good, really strong, really brutal anime and manga about conflicted heroes that yeah, and just gorgeous art. So like, yeah, if you like Fist of the North Star, I would highly recommend everything I just mentioned.
Awesome, awesome, and we will be back next Tuesday with another episode. We're going to have some in the fandom will know who Jessica Blake is. We are going to have Jessica Blake on the show next week to talk about Doctor Who. So if you're a Doctor Who fan, you might want to tune in to next week's ZodWriter Show episode. So thank you everyone for listening and for watching and for liking and subscribing. And we'll be back next week.